Good morning. Welcome to the Cookie Chat.
I'm Melissa.
And I am Chelsea, and we are just basic bakers letting loose and keeping it real. Ways to track your expenses. We kind of hit on this as far as Word documents, Excel. If you are looking for something that is going to be a long-term investment piece and you're getting more into the nitty-gritty with your business, it will also help you come tax season, is QuickBooks Business, or self-employed. There's an app. It is easily downloaded on your phone. You can take pictures of receipts. It categorizes things for you so you can go back. Also, a really nice thing is it will put the name of the business. So let's say I bought so many things from Sweetly Printed. I can type in Sweetly Printed and it will tell me how much did I spend with that cutter company.
Oh, that's nice. I know. I've been saying for like a year now. I'm like, yeah, I need to get on that.
It's again.
I need good old Excel.
No, it's amazing. I lived in Excel. I still use Excel for like holiday things and pulling stuff from my website, but now it's just a little bit.
Well, and I would say at the very least, have a checking account and a credit card just for your business. That alone will help you so much with just keeping things straight and being able to backtrack when it comes to tax season.
Yes. And that is a really nice thing on QuickBooks is it links to your bank account. So when a purchase comes in or a deposit, it will ask you, is this personal or business? And you swipe and you're like, it's business.
That's great.
And then it throws into the business category.
That's great.
Yeah. But again, it is a cost each month. I want to say it's like $15 a month. It is a tax write-off because it's necessary for you to run your business.
Mm-hmm.
Once we kind of have broken down into the budgeting and you know where your real numbers are, like Melissa said, I broke it down for you guys into like the simplest buckets. You can get more into the nitty gritty as far as your insurances, your websites, your fees, all of that stuff that you're going to pay. So you have like this is my set. This is what I have to make. Think of it like a household budget. I have to make my mortgage, my electricity, and my water. Do I want to get my nails done, my hair done, eating out, Starbucks? That's going to be your like cutter and fun fund.
Yeah.
Fund. That's a tongue twister.
Or like fun stuff for your cookie room, or and
it's really hard
with the cutter. It is hard.
It is hard. So that kind of leads us into the next section is our savings accounts. So once you get real on this, there's many different ways to do this, and we're just offering one viewpoint or a few different viewpoints for you to kind of take this and adapt it and learn what's going to work for your business and your family. But set an allotted percent or dollar amount aside for big holidays. This is coming from somebody who is full-time. Melissa, I know, might do this a little bit differently, but I know every year Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas come one right after the other. Shipping is always delayed. Things sell out, and it's a big upfront cost for me to get things in order to have them in time for the sales. So I've had to start setting. Again, you can choose 10% of each week or $20 each week, $5 each week, whatever is going to work in your budget, putting it aside in a separate savings account. So come August, I can be like, oh, I'm ordering all the red tulle and food coloring before it sells out. I can have it. So then that way it's already accounted for in my budgeting, and my Christmas and all of that money I can use to pay myself back if I needed to. So it's just one way to look at that.
So for me as part-time, I think part of it, because I'm not getting as large chunks coming in, what I have kind of gotten in the groove of, especially come Christmas time, is I do leverage, but I do it in a very calculated way. So
you're very good at it.
I look at what my past years are, and I look at what I know I'm going to be able to sell, or I will pre-sale. Pre-sale is a great way to do it. If you can do your pre-sale early enough to where you can still buy packaging in time, that's a really smart way to leverage things. I do look for sales, especially for things like Nashville wraps, with their pre-tied bows, things like that. But Bless you. But I had a goal in mind with this past holiday pop-up. I was like, okay, so I'm going to make enough and I need to sell X amount of dollars to cover myself for the things that I purchased in it and be able to have a little bit of fund going into 2022. And so I pretty much set a goal of what I wanted to make for that sale and did everything I could to push to that. So, it's worked out so far, but you want to be calculated with it, right? You always want to be bringing in more than less. But I think for part-time bakers, sometimes it can be hard to set the money aside just because we're not bringing in as much money as rapidly and as like earlier in the year. And, so that's again, kind of, I think why it can be nice in part-time to do the 50% up front, for deposits, and also just being smart with leveraging and not having to buy all the cookie cutters, buy like a couple per season, or something like that.
No, and that's again why I went part-time for about a year. I did both so I could just put everything back in. I was like, you know what, after that, then like if I wanted to pull something to like treat the family to dinner, I could, but I knew that I always had I was guaranteed my corporate income before moving over to relying heavily just on myself. Yeah. With that being said too, is you guys, it's not lost on us with packaging. We know we talk about like buying packaging in bulk and this and that. Right now, since Christmas has ended, I have extra packaging. So that means the packaging I'm using, by the way, this is also why and I know Melissa does it too with her pastels, keep with certain color schemes. Red, for example, is going to carry me for Valentine's Day. I can use it for a teacher appreciation. 4th of July, graduations, and back to school are all kind of the next ones. Oh, yeah. That can all hit on red. So my red tulle, my red ribbons, my stripes, all of that can be used again. Yes. And that's why sometimes you see on certain amounts, we're not trying to say, you should buy what we buy. No, it's just, I know in my business that if I'm going to make this investment now, it's going to carry me. And I will be like, okay, my packaging, I'm going to use these ribbons because this is what I got and I'm going to use it up. I'll find a creative way to make this box work. Oh, totally. And look at your cookie cutters. Like apples can become pumpkins. I mean, just so much of this stuff. Like the carrots, those work also for Christmas time. Yes, they do. The Rudolph stuff, like there's a lot of overlap. Yeah, and Valentine's Day especially, you have so many puns, like use the cutters you have, do seashells, do those type of things. The cactuses, the avocados, like all stuff that you're already using. So that's where it is smart you'll find your groove as you go and just kind of figure that out. Yeah. Again, part of savings is you can set an allotted amount aside for budgets or treats, or if you're starting out, some things that go back into your business. So I started this when I went full time because again, I didn't have that like part-time money anymore. I was like, okay, this is all full time. So how am I going to do this? I still do this to this day. If I know I need something, so I'm constantly going through my inventory. I knew as my business was growing that I needed another freezer. So this past Christmas, I was already like, okay, research, this is how much freezers cost. I'm going to set money aside from each of my pre-sales in a savings account from August on, and then I'm going to buy my items. Yeah. That way I wasn't like, oh my gosh, there's this huge $300 freezer that I need to buy. Yeah. This is going to take a large chunk of my money. It was something that I saw coming for my next, I know I have money that I can just go buy a heat sealer with a cutter, but I don't want to tap into that savings account because I have a savings account for a reason. So I know with Valentine's Day and Easter, I'm going to set money aside. And then also I can pull from my customs. Yeah. And establish that savings account. So when I reach it, I'm like, okay, it's not just one big thing at one time. Hey, girlfriend. Again, had not gotten to brushing hair. We don't judge. We're real people. Aren't they twins, you guys? Let us know below if you think they're twins. She's Melissa's mini little boo boo. She said, I want to be cookie artist when I grow up. Oh. Okay. We need to hit on taxes because Mama has to go to an appointment soon. But let's get into it. I know taxes is a huge one. We are. Do you want to take it? You want me to take it? Let's get into it because you handled a lot of these questions rolling in. So why don't you hit quickly on some of the groundwork that we would like to set? Yes. Okay. Taxes, again, is going to be very specific to your business, to your family, to your business model, how you do everything. So the most basic, these are coming quotes, you guys. I took these quotes straight up. We will post in stories this week some great websites that we found that just kind of went more into taxes and a lot of questions that people were having in our boxes that we hit. So the most basic defining difference between a business and a hobby is that a hobby is for recreation or enjoyment and not to make profit. So that's not like, I'm going to do this because I solely want the profit. Businesses are focused on making a profit. While it can be enjoyable, the focus is profit-based rather than fun. So again, I love doing what I do, but at the end of the day, I have to make X amount of money in order for it to be sustainable. Where Melissa has loved to share that.
Yeah. So what that means for tax purposes is it doesn't mean like you're not maybe like still a business or still a hobby baker, but after that period, you can't be applying write-offs towards your taxes.
Correct.
Unless somehow you establish like that you've made money now. I need to pay the government.
Yes.
So that's what that means.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for clarifying that. Do you want to hit the dollar amount that is considered for hobby?
Oh, yes. Is that up at the top here?
It is.
Okay. So
for professionals.
That dollar amount is $400 or less. So if you make, or more. If you make $400 or more as a sole proprietor, you have to file a tax return.
Sole proprietor meaning you use your social security number for your business. There's no separation between Chelsea enrolling in the dough versus my social could be used for both.
Yeah.
Which we went over that in our business episode.
Yes, we did.
So we're just going to fly through these next few points, just kind of give you guys a running ground of where to kind of start with this.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back into real quick on like tracking because Melissa's really good about like making sure your receipts and stuff. So just a few more quotes for you. Typically, if a small business continues to run at a loss, meaning expenses are higher than the income reported, the IRS will become interested between your third to fifth year. When they do, the business may get reclassified as a hobby if the business owner cannot prove he or she is trying to make a profit. So what does this mean? It means that the IRS gives you a set period of time because they know businesses require startup costs. Some businesses require less, some require more. Home-based bakers, we typically don't have to go buy a building and hire employees and all of that fun stuff. So our cap startup is a lot lower. Think Target is going to be massive. So they give you a grace period where they understand you're going to be putting a lot more back into your business. However, out of your first 5 years, those 3 years, you need to show a profit, some type of profit. If your expenses are way higher than your income, then they're going to say, no, you're a hobby. So what that means for tax purposes is you no longer get to claim the income and you no longer get to claim the write-offs. So those things that you're trying to expense saying, it was required to run my business, you don't get that luxury. So that's where if you are looking to make it a business, you do then have to go back to that budget and say, hey, I might be cutting it close for the last 6 months of the year. So I really need to cut back and use the packaging I have, the cutters I have in order to show that profit margin. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I don't think so. Okay. I'm coming up. I got to show profit.
I'm
going to have to pay taxes.
Oh, the fun part.
I know. And I did have I was very stressed my first year thinking I was going to have to pay so much money in taxes. And just remember too, you have Q1 to do some sales if you are worried about paying taxes. But I remember talking to, I think it was LegalZoom when I was setting up my LLC. And they're like, if you can't show a deficit in your first year, especially as a small business, then you're not writing off enough. Like there's so much involved with starting a business, with getting your LLC, and for me at least as a part-time baker, like it's it was well over what I was bringing in, what I was able to write off with all the equipment and everything. So just there are lots of resources out there and people to work with that can help like go through all those lists with you of all the write-offs to stay compliant, but also to not have this like big, you just really in your first year at least, you shouldn't be paying. I don't know. Did you have to pay tax your first year? I don't know. Well, you're full-time. That's different. Full-time's different. I could understand. Right. But
I had
from a part-time perspective.
Yeah, part-time is again different. So that's where part-time is not hobby. Remember that. Yes. If you're just hobby. So we're going to use our really nice friend, Andy from Kirky's Cookies, not her classes, but her custom orders. She would probably tell you like, hey, I maybe take 1 or 2 custom orders a year. That's more of like a hobby baker.
Yeah.
Again, not to diminish on her classes. Real quick, just to wrap up this section, we are going to let you know, do you want me to take it or you want to take how much a small business pays in taxes?
Oh, Lord. You can take it.
All right. So we did get this question a lot. So this is coming right from SBA.gov. So small business.
We do research.
We did, you guys. Small businesses in the United States pay an estimate average effective tax rate of approximately 19.8%. Federal income tax at the business owner level. Small business sole proprietorships face the lowest average effective tax rate at about 13.3%. So if you're wondering how much to set aside each year, this is about what you're averagely going to pay. So let's just say anywhere from 13 to 20%. Mm-hmm. You want to set aside 20% and then make sure like then you might have extra to give yourself a bonus or to roll over.
And Chelsea handles this in a really smart way. I need to start doing this year, but she has a total, did you say this earlier and I missed it?
I didn't, no.
She has a separate account that immediately just, she pulls money into for taxes. So that way, and this is so true. Like if it's sitting in your account, then you're like, well, like even if it shows on an Excel sheet that like that is allotted for taxes, it's different when it's sitting in your account, you know, and versus like, that's why 401k works the way it does, you know,
right?
Like
you can't touch it.
They just immediately take it out. You can't touch it. So
I have
that idea for taxes, I think is so smart.
Yeah, I have it hidden so then I'm not seeing the dollar amount and I'm like, ooh, I can chance to pull $100 from it. No,
totally.
I don't know. So at the end of the year, I'm like, whoo.
Yes. So, okay, really quickly before we wrap up, I wanted to share because I know if you do QuickBooks like Chelsea does, it really sets you up for success come tax season. Does it handle your home office stuff? Does it help you with that?
Yep, it does.
So that's a big one that if you aren't aware of home office and what applies to that, definitely research that. Every state can be different. This is another thing that Chelsea said from the beginning. Some of these questions that y'all are asking are difficult for us to answer purely come tax. One, we are not CPAs.
No, this is again from personal experience.
We are not CPAs. This is just how we do it. So Chelsea really relies on the QuickBooks, which is a great tool. I haven't done that yet. I'll be doing that this year. But if you're like me and you were working off of good old Excel, come tax season, I was like, I don't even know, like, what am I supposed to bring? Like when we file our taxes, or what should I have ready if we're doing like an online thing? So I knew that we were going to be filing under Schedule C, which means that it's under our personal tax filings. Mm-hmm. And so it's still on, basically the income of Missy P Sweets is added to the income of our overall household. But I can write off as much as I can on Missy P Sweets so that our overall household like tax return either goes up or down depending on that. So I actually helped us get a better return last year.
Yay! Also, I hit myself in the face.
Okay. Okay, so this is what I did the first year I did it, is you want to find a Schedule C form. So this is the 2021 one. You can just Google it and print it off. And in this, it has all of the different buckets of what you can write off. So there's advertising, there's any like car, truck expenses, there's commissions and fees, which like Square or Shopify, Venmo, all of that. Make sure any of your processing fees that you are going on to those and pulling those down. But just any of that stuff, legal professional, hello, LLC, legal Zoom costs, any of that. So then I would take, so these each have numbers associated with them. So then I would go over to my Excel and I would say, okay, so cookie cutters, that is under the supplies. That's line 22. So I would have a column and I'd write 22 so that then I could go through and just sort all of it. So it's in these nice little chunks so that like when we went to our CPA, I just brought this and she was like, wow, you're so organized. Thank you. But that's how you can get the most, I feel like, and be the most prepared. And then, yeah, just make sure that you're doing things too. Like there's a tax write-off for like your mixers and like what the depreciation value is now. There's home office has to be related to area in your home that is only for your baking, at least for me. I don't know if that's every single state, but so you can't write off your square footage in your kitchen because the kitchen is used for everybody. But you can, if you can figure out like percentage of your electricity bill that is purely associated with like using the ovens, if you can figure that out, that's right off. Mileage, going to and from Costco to get your ingredients is a write-off. So all of those things, just be really diligent about, and that's the great thing with QuickBooks. If you can get on that now, do it, because don't they even have a mileage tracker on that?
Yeah, it runs in the back of your phone. So every time I drive somewhere, which I know some people are against it, but when I drive, it says, was this a personal drive? Was this a business expense? And I'll just swipe and say business, and it will say, awesome. This is how much money you get for this. So come the end of the year, all my and it already puts it into the category. So then my Schedule C prints out at the end of the year, and it's like it will just pull it all on over to my taxes. So I don't even have to input it.
Now, some additional things that you should be thinking about that you'll be getting forms for is one, if you received any money from Instagram this year. I know that they did a lot of promotions, like if you were going live a certain amount of times or real play bonuses or anything like that, you're going to be getting a form for them. So that'll go towards your income. So you do need to account for that. And then also, Amazon. If you have an Amazon favorites and people are, purchasing anything from that, that's also something like make sure that you're waiting for that form to come in.
Yes.
When you're
brand
filing.
Deals, any of that good stuff.
Yes.
Those all count.
Yes.
So, wonderful. Well, you guys, Miss Melissa, thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Vivi, do you want to come say goodbye?
A meeting to get to.
I do.
You are so good. I know she can't hear me.
Oopsies. She's down here making her own little video. I don't let her press record or anything, but she looks at it. Can you say thanks for coming to the cookie chat? No.
Can you say may your cakes never be dry?
What's my name? What's mommy's name?
Missy Peas.
Missy Peas. That's my business. It is. All right. Well, thanks guys for joining us today.
Thank you. I am Chelsea with Rolling in the Dough AZ.
I'm Melissa with Missy P Sweets. May your cakes never be dry.
And your cookies be shiny and crater free. Thanks, Vivian, for joining us.
Bye. Say bye.